The fiscal cliff clock ticking down, real estate roars back, what it all means for your money.
This is America's #1 financial news program, The Wall Street Journal Report. Now, Maria Bartiromo.
Well, there's not much time left before the Bush tax cuts expire and the automatic spending cuts kick in. The dreaded fiscal cliff that will likely have a powerful impact on the economy. Can Washington actually come to an agreement, and what's going on behind the scenes? Joining me now is Don Peebles. He's chairman and CEO of the Peebles Corporation, a real estate development company. Don was also a leading fundraiser for President Obama, and it's good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us, Don.
Thank you.
So a lot of drama happening in Washington. Let's talk about the fiscal cliff. What's your take on how this plays out now with what? Just a few days left in the year to get this deal done.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to come back right after Christmas. I think that we'll see them back in early January to make a compromise. And I think that compromise is going to end up being in between where the president is now and where the speaker is now.
So, okay, so you think we go off the fiscal cliff then?
Yeah, I do.
All those spending cuts take effect in January. That could lead to layoffs. Do you think we will see the economy hit recession? That was the expectation, right?
No, I don't. That is the expectation, but I don't think so. I think there's been a lot of drama about this, especially on the tax increase side. The tax increase side is symbolic because in the end of the day, the tax increases are not going to have any impact on the deficit, any impact on controlling our spending. What's going to happen is the spending cuts, and I think that's where the speaker was having difficulty getting support, is not being specific about where these cuts are coming from.
Where should the cuts come from? I mean, we hear a lot about Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security being the drivers of the debt. Do you have to make significant cuts in the entitlements to really make a difference?
If not cuts immediately, structural changes. And that's the problem with the government. That's the problem with this Congress in particular, is that they wait till the last minute and they try to cram all this stuff down instead of making a structural change. And what needs to happen is a structural change on Medicare, Social Security, and also Medicaid. And then we need to look at some of the other spending areas as well. We're still talking about, about less than 40% of the government in terms of our budget that's being discussed about where we're going to take cuts from. And we really need to look at the entire government. And they can't do that in 20 days of helter-skelter rushing. I'm hopeful that they would come to their senses, do a short-term temporary measure, and then have a comprehensive review that takes place in the first quarter of next year, like any business would do it.
You make a lot of sense, Don. It just seems like we need structural change to these programs because we can't afford them the way they're going right now, right?
That's right. And also, our Americans' lives have changed. Look, Social Security was a very good idea and still is a good idea, but we're living a lot longer now than when Social Security was originally started. And so we're much more productive. For example, I see people every day who are working in their 70s and 80s, yet alone retiring at 65 years old. So I think that when someone's eligible for Social Security, has to change as well. We have to update these entitlements to based on where the country is today and where human beings are today.
Don, I want to talk about the underlying economy, really what's going on, because we hear so much about housing having bottomed. So amidst all of this uncertainty that we're talking about in terms of the fiscal cliff, you've also got some strength happening in the underlying economy. I mean, the worry is that reverses if we go over the cliff. Talk to us about real estate and about housing. You're so uniquely qualified to talk about this sector being a developer in so many cities.
Yeah, look, I think you look at housing and it's a bright spot of the economy. And it's, I think, what's going to help propel our economy back. Miami, for example, one of the first to go down steeply along with Las Vegas, and we operate in both of those cities. Prices are up in Las Vegas now 7% and Miami 8%. So you're seeing tremendous upside in housing.
But these are some of the areas that really plummeted.
Yes.
Yeah, so now they're coming back from low bases.
Yeah, but then San Francisco's coming back as well. Miami roared back, for example. Miami's inventory is lower than it was in its peak. Its price increases are happening more rapidly than during the last peak in the marketplace back in '06 when the market really peaked there.
Fascinating. So how important is this for the overall economy that you're seeing these hot spots of real development and bursts of energy in certain cities?
Very important because, one, of course, as the inventory shrinks and prices increase, there's a greater demand for new construction. Also, most Americans' net worth is tied up into their homes, and now their net worth has gone up. So they're more optimistic about the economy. They'll begin to spend more as well. Also, people can start selling their homes and moving to other places where there are jobs. And there's also going to be a free-up of entry-level housing as well.
So what kind of a year are you expecting in 2013?
Oh, I think a good year. I think if the government can just get out of the way, go ahead and tell us what the rules are going to be. Whatever they're going to be, make the rules, step up to the plate and act responsibly, make some decisions, then I think that the free market system and our business leaders and businesses, small business owners, will make it work.
Are a lot of people in business talking about what's going on with guns and the potential for new gun legislation? I mean, this week we saw sporting goods chain Dick's stop selling assault rifles. Private equity firm Cerberus saying it's going to sell its interest in the Freedom Group, a gun company, all in the wake of the tragedy that we're still in mourning over in Connecticut. Do you think we'll see real change in gun laws?
Yeah, because I think the president is committed to bringing something forward very quickly. Senator Feinstein is bringing something up as well. I don't think there's any business person that I've come across it over the last week or so that has not talked about what's happened here and talked about guns. And there is no case to be made for some reasonable basis to have assault weapons in the hands of the average citizens. There's no rational case for that. But this is another example of where the laws get outdated with modern society. We talked about Social Security. Let's look at gun control, for example, the right to bear arms. Sure, when we were protecting ourselves in the embryonic stages of our nation's founding. But today, where does that stop? Does it mean we can have many nuclear weapons at home too? So the right to bear arms and our constitutional right has to be reflected to what the founding fathers had in mind, and they definitely did not have any idea that people would have rapid machine guns in their homes.
You make a lot of sense, Don. Great to have you on the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Don Peebles joining us.